The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. We are here live to answer any of your questions today and a great show ahead. As always, my beautiful co-host Michaela Nichols is here. Hello, Michaela. How are you?
Fantastic.
So your job, as always, is to ask the questions the people at home have. You're not a lawyer. I am a lawyer. And I'm afraid I missed some of the questions that the people at home want to ask. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I got you covered.
You got me covered. Thank you very much. Here's what's coming up today and why it's such a great show. We've noticed Joel Greenberg is getting sentenced, but it keeps getting delayed because they keep saying he's a cooperating witness. What does that mean, and how does that help you on a sentence in a federal criminal trial? Also, cryptocurrency law. We know crypto is kind of in the tank lately, but there's a law around that now. Also, the pandemic. A lot of people were not driving. What did that do to personal injury cases in Florida and throughout the United States? We're going to answer all of those questions. Are you ready?
I am.
I am ready. Here's what we'll do. Quick break. Behind the Law continues.
Managing your investment property is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Sign up at GoRent123.com. 2. Let Greater Orlando Realty handle everything for you when it comes to managing your property. From qualifying tenants to collecting rent, processing maintenance requests, and everything in between. 3. Sit back, relax, and count all that money you're making. Earning passive income on your property is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Greater Orlando Realty. Visit GoRent123.com today.
Welcome back to the show. If you've seen any mafia movies, you know what a rat is. Michaela, do you know what a rat is?
I
Not
do.
the photo on the ground. What's a rat?
Like a snitch?
A snitch.
Snitches
A rat.
get stitches.
There's someone that I knew back in the day, didn't know what was going on, Joel Greenberg. You've heard all about him. He's been charged with many crimes. He, I believe, said he... Well, let me bring in Rajan first of all here. Rajan Joshi, criminal defense attorney extraordinaire. Rajan, how are you today?
Doing good, thank you.
So, and also Rick Jancha is here too, federal prosecutor, now federal defense attorney in the criminal world. Rick, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you?
Thank you. Nice being here.
We hear about rats. What does that mean exactly?
Well, basically, that's a code word that the people who the person is snitching on, refers to them as. It's basically a cooperating witness. Mm-hmm. It's someone who usually got caught by the government and is now cooperating in order to get a reduced sentence or maybe even get off completely. So it's, basically legally a cooperating witness. A
cooperating witness. And Joel Greenberg, a lot of people at home probably know the Joel Greenberg case. He pleaded guilty, I think, to maybe 2 or 3 felony counts, some bad stuff too. And they keep delaying his sentencing though, Rick. Why are they continuing to delay this guy's sentencing?
Okay, because he's still in the cooperation mode. He probably is not only cooperating in the specific case involving him, but other matters also.
Yeah.
So they don't want to, how the federal system works is if you cooperate with the government, they can file a motion with the court reducing your guidelines and thereby reducing your sentence based on the nature and extent of your cooperation. So if you have extensive cooperation that's continuing, they want to delay your sentencing until your cooperation is completed, because once an individual sentenced, they have no more incentive to cooperate.
My understanding is he pleaded guilty to sex trafficking of a minor. I believe the girl was 17 years old, mandatory minimum 12 years, I read. If you cooperate, if you rat, can they go below those mandatory minimums?
Yes, there's a specific code in the federal statutes that allows to go beyond, or what they call breaking the minimum mandatory, based on substantial assistance. Yeah. And that has to be a motion that can only be filed by the state prosecutor. They ask for a certain number of levels down. Once they break the minimum mandatory, then it's discretionary with the judge what sentence to impose.
Yeah, I'm so proud of what you guys are doing criminal defense-wise over there, Rajan. And to prove it, I sent a client, someone that works for me, someone that's worked for me for 15 years to you the other day. And,
thank you.
And I was in on that first initial call when he called your office, because I kind of know about his case as well. And the process is so smooth with you guys. I mean,
Oh,
how
thank
have you
you.
created such a great firm? And really, what, 8 years now? How long have you been doing it?
It's 7.
7-year anniversary the other day. How have you created such a great firm over there?
It's a lot of experience with other firms. What I've done is I've taken my experience as a prosecutor, taken my experience at a large firm. I worked in Jacksonville, and I worked at a very prestigious firm where Rick was my partner actually. And I learned a lot from other attorneys, and I streamlined it. And what I try and do is I try and give the clients a service where they have multiple attorneys, they have multiple paralegals. Their case is to them going to be treated as the most important thing at our firm, and we give that to every client, and we're blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah. And look, if you've been charged with a crime, or someone a loved one, a friend has been charged with a crime, this is going to be one of the most important times of their life. You need a criminal defense attorney who I trust. It's Rajan. That's all there is to it. I believe they are the best in town, the Joshi Law Firm. Here's what you can do. 2 ways right now to ask your questions. Call right now. We will answer them immediately. The phone number is on the screen. It's 321-282-1055. We'll answer your question right here. Or if you want to talk to Rajan in private, call the same phone number. I will connect you with him right away. All right, back to Joel Greenberg for a moment, cooperating witness. And let's just, the cat's out of the bag. They're trying to bring down Matt Gaetz, is what it feels like to us. Okay, Matt Gaetz, a congressman from the Panhandle area. But it's been going on forever, Rick. How long can these cooperations last?
Until they have exhausted the information that the individual has, and have brought prosecutions based on it. So I've had a client right now that's been cooperating, pled guilty 2.5 years ago.
Really? And
is still cooperating.
Now, do judges want to delay the sentencing until after the trial of the person they're trying to bring down, or do they do it before that? How do they decide?
Well,
when
it's not necessarily the judges; it's the prosecution.
Okay.
A person makes a statement to the prosecution. They rely on that in bringing their case. They want to make sure that that person gets on the stand and testifies consistent with their cooperation with the government. And like I said before, once they get sentenced, the government really doesn't have any hammer on them to keep them to continue to cooperate.
Right.
And the witness has all the incentive to work as hard as possible. I mean, when a client is going to cooperate, what Rick and I tell them, it's like you're pregnant. Either you are or you're not. You can't go in there halfway. You can't go in there with your foot in 2 boats. You've got to go 100% and cooperate, because what happens is if the witness ends up lying or going half effort, and the government finds out, it is much worse than if they didn't cooperate in the first place. Then if by chance they've lied and the defense attorney for the main target finds out, then that witness's credibility is shot, and now they've got something to attack the government and that witness on. So it is the cooperating witness who's going to be punished for that.
So the cooperating witness / rat, as they're known in mafia movies anyway, are they protected in any way, or are they just exposed?
They can be in the federal system, but most times, they're just doing it, and they're in jail. They may be segregated to a certain extent. Then there's also witness protection program, but once they take that stand, they are not protected. And when I go after a cooperating witness, I go after them ruthlessly. I mean, I will tear them up. I will argue to that jury that their testimony is purchased with the greatest currency known to man.
Yeah.
Their freedom.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes the witness protection program sounds like fun when I'm having a stressful day. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think you'd want to be in the witness protection program.
Sometimes. Okay, not every time.
You wouldn't see anybody that you know here anymore.
No, I know. But Philip could go with us, right? We can take Philip. Who makes the decision, though? So we've been cooperating for a while. At some point, the federal government has to decide we're going to charge this person or not. How is that decision made?
The cooperating witness, or who they're cooperating against?
No, like the federal, the prosecutor, the federal prosecutor. How did they decide, okay, it's time to charge someone, and who makes that decision ultimately?
Usually what happens is, when they want to have a witness cooperate, the prosecutors will contact the defense attorney. We'll bring the witness in and have them do what's called a proffer, in which they can talk to the prosecutor, tell them everything that they know, and they're granted immunity for it. So nothing they say can be used against them, as long as they don't make an inconsistent statement at court. And then the prosecutor evaluates, and they come in there with the main agents, the case agents, and they evaluate the witness's testimony, their credibility, and they will ask questions they already know the answer to.
Right.
So then they will see how the witness answers those questions, and then they evaluate how well the witness was credible, and then how articulate the witness is, how good of a witness they make on the stand, and depending on that, then they start discussing, cooperation with us.
Yeah. The most important thing to understand if a cooperating witness is that the government agents and the prosecutor probably know the answer already to a lot of the questions they're going to ask you. And I tell every one of my clients that because that's how they judge whether or not the witness is going to be truthful, or try to protect other individuals.
How does it work logistically? And I don't know why this is fascinating to me, but someone is charged with a crime, and they're locked up pending trial or sentencing, but they're a cooperating witness. Do the feds come down to the jail and we meet there? Do they take me to Applebee's? Where do we have these talks?
No, if the person's incarcerated, they're always at the jail or at the U.S. Marshal's facility in the federal courthouse.
Why do I feel like they don't bring cigarettes anymore down to the jail? Do they?
No.
It's bad for your health.
Can't bring anything, not even cell phones.
In the movies they did. So is a grand jury ultimately the decider here, or is this the federal prosecutors?
Federal prosecutor, and they may call the witness in to testify in the grand jury. Not always, but the prosecutor has a lot of discretion on what's going to happen to this witness and how they're going to use the witness.
Right.
Some they may just say we're just disregarding them. Others they may give them some level of cooperation. Others they can just not charge them at all. And we've been very fortunate a lot of times where we've brought in witnesses, had them cooperate, and nothing came out of the case, Yeah.
When someone is a cooperating witness and there's a target, for a crime, so they're cooperating to try to charge someone with something, I guess.
Usually.
Does that potential target know what's going on at the time?
No, usually not. Not if it's still in the grand jury investigation. Then the federal prosecutor is building up the case, and that individual may never know. Now, when there is a takedown and 20 people are arrested, as the case goes on, the defense attorneys, if we're involved, we're going to know who's cooperating and who's not pretty quick.
Exactly. You guys keep doing such a great job over there. Please,
Thank you.
You've really saved a lot of lives, and I get it all the time. You must hear it too. You're representing these bad people, these criminals, and I don't see it that way, guys. How do you respond to that question?
No, I mean, what it is you are defending an individual based on their legal rights.
Yeah.
It is not my decision, and it's not the prosecutor's decision to decide who's guilty or who's innocent.
And we keep a check on the government. We keep a check on the government. If we don't safeguard individuals, then the police are out and can do whatever they want to anyone.
They sure can, and sometimes they will. Rajan, Rick, thank you as always for being here, our official criminal defense firm over there. You guys do such a great job. And again, if you've been charged with a crime, you're being investigated for something, or someone that you know, someone you love is being charged with a crime, I can't think of another place to go than Rajan Joshi and his amazing firm. 321-282-1055. Here's what we're going to do. Quick break. When we return, we know people weren't driving, Michaela, as much during the pandemic. Does that mean there were less auto accidents and less auto personal injury claims? Also, you've been hiding money in crypto. Maybe not such a great idea anymore. Behind the Law continues. Does student loan debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark & Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your monthly payments. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. Welcome back to the show. We all know there is less traffic over the last couple of years due to the pandemic. Are you still seeing less traffic?
Not really.
I'm still seeing, I think, a little bit less traffic than before the pandemic. Does that mean there were less accidents and less personal injury claims? I think that's a really good question that we're going to answer here in just a minute. Also, cryptocurrency. You think you can hide your money from your spouse, do you? Maybe not anymore. Two excellent lawyers join me now. Coretta Anthony-Smith is here. Coretta, welcome. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Good to have you here. Serge Hovhanessian, say it for me.
It's Serge Hovhanessian.
Hovhanessian, there you go. I'm sorry.
Thank you for having me, man.
You got it, brother. Good to see you. So, all right, during the pandemic, we know a lot of people were working from home, no offense, but there was less traffic. I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
'What has less traffic done to the accidents in Central Florida?
less traffic, but with the rainstorms, there have not been necessarily less accidents, possibly more accidents just because we have a lot of tourists who are visiting and going to Disney, I drive, they aren't familiar with our area, and you know, sometimes they may cut you off, turn quickly.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm trying to be nice here.
I know, I hear you.
And they are our economy after all. And the reason why a lot of people are involved in accidents still, even though there may be less cars on the roadway.
That's right. What do you think about these rainstorms actually? Should you throw your hazards on, Serge, or not?
It's probably a bad idea.
Yeah?
Well, because you're confusing other drivers on the road. They don't know if you're stopped. They don't know if you're trying to pull over. You know, technically you turn your hazards on when you're on the side of the road so that way other drivers passing by know that it's an emergency, but you shouldn't be doing it and driving at the same time because it causes accidents.
Right. And we do see a lot of people that will pull over. Right? We're talking about on Interstate 4, it'll be raining and they will literally pull off on the side of the interstate during a horrible storm. Is that a good idea?
It's actually a very bad idea. What we see happening a lot is people will stop on the side, they'll get out of their cars, and then they get hit by oncoming traffic. I mean, it happens not only to pedestrians, but it also happens to first responders a lot.
I agree.
You'll see cars hit police cars, fire trucks. It's very dangerous to get out of your car, especially on the highway.
Sure.
You probably want to wait until an officer arrives to, you know, protect you a little bit.
Yeah. Coretta, you've been doing this for a while. You handle a lot of personal injury cases, not just pre-suit. You know, you go to court. You're not afraid to go to court. I hear sometimes about rear end collisions. So if someone rear ends me, are they automatically at fault?
It is a rebuttable presumption that they're at fault. So you can rebut that presumption. There's also something called the sudden stop defense. So you may rear end somebody, but if they just stop, for example, we'll just use a tourist, for example, not that that's necessarily the case. If they don't know where they're going, you have, you know, a distance behind you, and then they just slam on brakes because they think that they have to take that exit. They don't realize they can just go to the next exit and turn back around. But if they suddenly stop and you rear end them, there is a rebuttable presumption, but that can be overcome by the sudden stop defense.
Hang on, wait, what does that mean? Rebuttable, that word, that thing.
I'm sorry, and that's a common legal phrase. It means that there's a presumption that you're at fault, but you can rebut it. You can bring forth evidence that would indicate that, yes, you did hit this person, but there was a reason why. And they may be what we call contributorily negligent for their actions because they stopped suddenly, therefore not giving you adequate time to stop and not rear end them.
And that, at the end of the day, that is what this show is about. That is why we are here on your television screen, because you're not going to always know what these things are. We are here to inform you, and you might have questions during the show. We are right here, right now for you. The phone number's on the screen. If you have any questions whatsoever, it's 321-282-1055. People are standing by right now to answer your questions. So I've also heard, guys, this is for both of you, that there might be a group of people out there who maybe do some fake actions, like they will just stop to get rear-ended so they can get money from an automobile claim. Any truth to that?
Well, I mean, I'm sure people do it.
Yeah.
To say that, you know, that's exactly what they're doing is tough. But, you know, I'm sure there's some, you know, potentially fraudulent claims, you know. But it might be a dumb decision because if you do potentially cause an intentional accident, well, how do you know if the person that hit you has any insurance to go after, if they have any assets, or even if it gets proven through like a dash cam that you intentionally stopped? Now the roles are reversed. Now you're on the other side of the suit.
Yeah.
So it's probably not a good idea, but it happens. Yeah, I'm sure.
Coretta?
And there are a lot of allegations too, Justin, that a lot of accidents are intentionally caused. And like I said before, you don't know just, you know, with being in this area if somebody is suddenly stopping. So I agree with Serge. It's extremely hard to prove that somebody is intentionally causing this accident. And also, if you intentionally stop, you don't know how fast the person behind you is going. You may cause real injury to yourself by intentionally trying to, you know, stage a motor vehicle accident. And like he said, a lot of people here do not carry bodily injury coverage, which is a coverage necessary for you to recover for your injuries. And if they don't have that, you're taking a significant risk without any form of knowing that you're going to get any form of money.
Yeah. All right, allow me to take us through a scenario, okay? For my purposes. Let's say we're driving down the street. We stop, it's a little wet out, the guy behind me rear ends me. not a lot of damage. The car is okay. The car's a little dented, okay? Not a lot of damage. I can drive it out of there. Do I call the police anyway, or do I just drive off? What do you think?
Personally, I would call the police, because if you have a deductible and the damage does not exceed your deductible, you could be out of pocket for that. And I'm going to tell you, like, more often than not, people will always say, oh, he told me he was at fault, he apologized, and then they will tell their insurance company, nope, he stopped suddenly, it was not my fault. So just to, you know, preclude that type of situation, even if you're not going to claim an injury and you don't know what's going to happen to your body, because many times you may not feel that pain for a couple of days.
Exactly.
And then you are precluded if you just drive away and you don't get the other person's insurance.
Totally agree. And the person that hit you can lie to you. I mean, they'll say they're John Smith. Like, I'm John Smith. Here's my phone number, and it's BS. You call it later, or you call your insurance company, and you're like, yeah, it was John Smith. We're going to go after him because now I'm hurt. John Smith doesn't exist. That wasn't John Smith who hit you. I think you almost have to document that scene to get the other person's driver's license information, insurance information. If not, your claim could be totally dead.
Exactly. And people give fake insurance cards. I think that that's more prevalent than actually staging the accidents. Is people just making an insurance card, going down to Kinko's or you know, FedEx, and just making up an insurance card, and they hand that to people without really having insurance.
That's true.
So I 100% agree with you to have an officer there to verify the information, look at their driver's license, and have adequate documentation of your claim.
The thing is, and quickly for both of you, and I've seen it 100 times too, when people have an accident, if it's nothing that bad, they normally don't really feel pain that day. It can take a few days for the pain to come on, that you know you have a back problem.
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, I like to compare it to like going to the gym, right? When you go to the gym, you're not going to instantly feel sore that day of the workout. But what happens with the body is when your hormone levels start to come down and your endorphin levels start to come down, the pain starts to settle. And we see this, it's very common in motor vehicle accidents. And to bounce on what Coretta was saying, it's very important to document it. A lot of times what will happen is the other person will make up a bogus story, and they'll say, oh, I wasn't even at this accident scene, and if there's a lack of a witness, well, now we're playing he said, she said. And it makes it very difficult for us attorneys to pursue that claim, and it adds a lot of unnecessary litigation to it.
Totally agree.
So
I want to move on to crypto here briefly, because you're one of the first people I've met who handles crypto type issues, and I think mostly what you probably see is a husband and wife going through a divorce, and husband's trying to hide it, wife's trying to hide it. Can you still hide crypto?
Well, here's the thing. So crypto it's based on the blockchain, and the blockchain is very transparent. And when I say transparent, is you can follow and track address to address the movement of cryptocurrency, which is money, form of money. Now what happens is, we see this a lot in family law, in probate, and wills. What happens is one spouse will hide assets from the other spouse. But what's not very bright is someone can go in there, like a blockchain expert, and backtrack the transactions and see where they came from, because you have to use some sort of exchange, a medium, to convert US dollars into crypto.
Sure.
And then if you're doing that, you can backtrack it and pinpoint it and say, hey, listen, does this address belong to you? You know, so then if you're hiding it, you're really not hiding it. So.
Serge, Coretta, what a pleasure. You guys killed it today. Hopefully we can have you back soon. How's that?
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Awesome job. If you have any questions for them, I will connect you right now. 321-282-1055. Quick break. When we return, what did we learn? Michaela and I are here at Pontoon Landing Resort and Marina, the best kept secret in all of Central Florida. Would you not agree?
Oh, it is.
Chris is here, the general manager. This is Old Florida here. This is a secret. This place is beautiful. Great rooms, great suites. If you want to spend the weekend, spend a week here. But also a lot of great things to do here during the week, Chris. What all do you offer?
So we have river tours. We have pontoon boat rentals, brand new pontoons. We have, you stay in the
beautiful place. What about the river tour? I mean, we have manatees literally right outside the boat here. You do river tours, right?
Yeah, we do 2 of those, 10 and 1.
Yeah.
Wednesday through Sunday, and it's a tour all the way around Pontoon Island. Go by Blue Springs.
This is Old Florida at its finest. Door to door for me, from my house, 45 minutes. I think downtown Orlando, an hour. Yet you feel like you're in a totally different world. How do you describe this setting?
a place like no other. This is so unique, and there's not very many places like this anymore.
You've totally upgraded the rooms and suites. They're beautiful, stunning, in fact, very comfortable. How do you describe the rooms and suites here?
You know, they've gotten a lot of love in the last year, and it's wonderful. And we're continuing to make that investment in Pontoon to continue to keep it as a place like no other.
And you can rent this boat here. The boats are brand new, but think about the rooms and suites too. They're all so unique. This is not a cookie cutter type place to stay.
No, it was designed as a fish camp, and it, you know, all the rooms are very unique. So it's not like a big hotel where you have a bunch of these cookie cutter rooms. Yeah, they're all unique.
The Dockside Deli is awesome. We're building a tiki bar. We have, you know, we have beer. This place is unbelievable. I'm so impressed with what you have done. Chris, congratulations on what you guys are doing here and continue to do. And I've got to tell you, if you have not been out to this area, you're making a mistake. Pontoon Landing Resort and Marina, 45 minutes from my house, not more than an hour from yours. Come out and check it out.
Managing your investment property is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Sign up at GoRent123.com. 2. Let Greater Orlando Realty handle everything for you when it comes to managing your property. From qualifying tenants to collecting rent, processing maintenance requests, and everything in between. 3. Sit back, relax, and count all that money you're making. Earning passive income on your property is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Greater Orlando Realty. Visit GoRent123.com today.
Here to wrap up another edition of Behind the Law with What Did We Learn? Michaela, what did you learn today?
I learned that I should, you know, always call the police if I'm in an accident, even if I, you know, don't want to.
I totally agree. I learned that a cooperating witness can be go through that investigation for 2-3 years at a time. I had no idea that they would let them kind of flounder out there like that for so long.
Yeah, doesn't seem like a fun place to be.
And then the federal prosecutor is ultimately the one that decides whether to charge you with a crime or not. I also learned that a rat is a rat is a rat.
Snitches get stitches.
Is that what it is? That's the old saying?
I don't know. That's what I've heard.
That's what the kids are saying now?
That's what the kids say.
And then crypto, you think you're hiding your crypto from your husband or wife. Maybe it's not as easy as it once was. Michaela, excellent job as always. Thank you for being here. Most importantly, thank you for joining us every weekend for Behind the Law Hit Record series now. We'll see you next week, same time, same place for Behind the Law. Here with Rajan Joshi. He is the founder of the Joshi Law Firm, our go-to for all things criminal defense, the place that literally we refer our criminal cases to. What I love about your firm is there is no case too small, but more importantly, maybe no case too large for you.
Yeah, thank you, first off, for having us. Yeah, our firm is equipped to hire any type of criminal defense case, whether it's federal, state, murder, racketeering, a DUI, or simple petty theft. You know, we have the infrastructure and the manpower to handle it.
Free consults, which is always a great thing if someone's charged with a crime, but also maybe you should call before you are even charged. If the cops are calling you, should you talk?
Absolutely not speak to the police officers. The most important thing is if you're suspecting the crime, is call an attorney. A lot of times we can quash it and avoid people from going through the hardship of an arrest and criminal charges.
Keep up the great work.
Thank
if you are charged with a crime or the police are calling you, do yourself a favor, call the Joshi Law Firm today. One of the most important decisions you're ever going to make. Having debt can leave you feeling helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Filing for bankruptcy may give you the power to lower or even eliminate the payments that have you living paycheck to paycheck. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.